This is episode 60. This is the Hood Geniuses podcast. I'm Ms. 100. There will be no Lady T today. She couldn't make it. So shout out to Lady T. With this episode, I have with me two of my previous guests from season 1. If y'all remember, I have Maxayn Gooden and I have Nneka Onianwah. I know I always mess your name up, Nneka, but it's all good. You peoples. You know what I'm saying? So, Maxayn Gooden, she's a founder, executive director of Women Of Valor, a female mentoring program, and she's also the founder of the Jahworld Memorial Scholarship Foundation. And I had also, like I said, I have Nneka with me. She's a physician assistant. Y'all see I didn't say her last name, but Nneka is a physician assistant in the medical world. You know what I'm saying? I have my connections to the medical world. So, ladies, please say your salutations, hellos, or whatever, your greetings, however you want to do this.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Maxayn, and it's a pleasure to be back on Hood Geniuses, so I'm pretty excited.
How you doing, everybody? My name is Nneka, pronounced Onianwah. As Jamila said, I am a physician assistant, and my special interests include women's health, women's reproductive health, particularly in the pediatric and adolescent age range.
Gotcha. Nice. Okay. So today's episode, I got these two lovely women with me today because the focus is going to be on gun violence in America and how does it affect the urban community. You know, not only in the urban community as far as black people that I'm talking about, African Americans, we have so many issues and struggles we got to deal with on the daily from our own, problems within our own community and dealing with the police and all that. We're going to actually address all that kind of stuff on this episode. Before we begin though, I have to shout out to all the people that's been buying the t-shirts and the hoodies. We have much merch coming soon, and also the website is coming soon. So shout out to all those people that actually been copping their hoodies and they t-shirts, yo. I really appreciate it. Thank you, and keep supporting. And also follow the Hood Geniuses podcast on Instagram at Hood Geniuses Pod and on Twitter at Hood Geniuses Pod. And you can email us at hoodgeniuspod@gmail.com. Thanks. So let me start this episode. This past November, during the Thanksgiving holiday, our guest, Maxayn, lost her young king, Jason Ahmad Patton, due to gun violence. I had the pleasure to meet this guy. You know what I'm saying? He was very intelligent, full of life, love, talent, a super athlete on the football field, which, me and him had several conversations with. That was our connection, the football thing. He had this great love for football, and it was just awesome. I used to see him talk about it, and I would just watch in astonishment, like, damn, it's good to see a young man that have a that much passion for something, because he didn't only just had a passion for it, but what really got me was he was helping the youth. He's a youth, and he's actually helping the youth on football and being an inspiration for them, telling them they can do it, never hold back, go for your dreams. And this young man was only 18, you know what I mean? And he brought life to a lot of people that was out here that seemed lifeless, you know what I mean? So, plus, I'm leaving out the fact that he was an honor student. Definitely got to mention that. He was on his way to college, scholarships and everything. I mean, this is like a mother's dream or a father's dream to have this kind of young man as their son, and he, it's, sad that, the tragedy happened like that. But that's what this platform is about. The Hood Geniuses is touching on things that's going on in the community that's just sometimes not getting the light that it deserves. And I'm glad Maxayn actually provided the Hood Geniuses podcast this opportunity to discuss this. This is her personal pain. She didn't have to do this. Real talk. She could have said, I'm cool. But Maxayn's a fighter. You know what I'm saying? She she deal with a lot, but you wouldn't even be able to tell. If you was in her presence, she stays smiling. Her energy is good all the time. You wouldn't even be able to tell. But Maxayn, I'm gonna let you get on the mic because she has a lot going on as far as not just the loss of her son, but she just took that and turned it into some blessings.
So I'm going to share the story for those of you that don't know the story. So my son, last November during the Thanksgiving holiday, he went to go stay with his sister on his dad's side for holiday break. He messed his knee up playing football, and so he was unable to attend school, and he wanted to kind of get out the house. So when he asked me to go stay with her in Harrisburg, which he has done numerous times before, I said okay, and I let him go. And he was going probably like a week and a half before this incident happened. So basically what happened was he was at his sister's, and he was apparently shot by his sister's boyfriend's brother, who is a felon, who was not supposed to have a firearm because he is a convicted felon, and who wasn't even supposed to be in Harrisburg at the time. And so as I know right now, because it's still an open case, thank God that they quit the person. But as of right now, the girlfriend, the brother's girlfriend, had brought the gun that killed my son. And apparently the story is that he just didn't like my son, which I find to be BS. But the true story will come out as the court process goes. So it was a Saturday morning when I got the phone call from his dad, calling me. I praise dance, and I was actually on my way to practice, and his dad called me Saturday morning and was like, "We have to go to Harrisburg. Your son's been shot." And to get that phone call, I couldn't process it. I just couldn't process it. I'm like, no, I'm still going to praise dance practice. This ain't happening. And he's trying to tell me the story. And at that point, I didn't want to hear the story anymore. I just was like, I hung up. I said, I'll call you back. And basically what I did was I started Googling shootings in Harrisburg. And it was a few that night, which is crazy. And it was a number. And I called that number. And I said, my son's father has called me. We're from Philadelphia. He's in Harrisburg visiting his sister. He's 18 years old. He's been shot. I don't know where he is and I need help. So the person was like, we'll have someone give you a call back. So an hour passed. Someone called me back. As a matter of fact, it was a coroner that called me. And he said, I'm almost 90% sure we have your son. And again, I'm still not processing it. And he's like, well, can you describe a tattoo? At that moment, I only could describe one because my brain was still not processing it. So he said, I'm going to have a detective call you back in about 3 or 4 hours. Meanwhile, I'm pacing and I'm just like, all right, God, I'm thinking all these crazy things. I'm just like, all right, God, whatever way it's going to be, just let me know where he is. I need to know where he is, whichever way it goes. So maybe about 4 hours passed, no phone call. I called back. And meanwhile, in between, I'm calling his phone and calling his phone. No one's answering. And so I called the coroner's office back. And I was like, I just talked to someone 3 hours ago. I'm still waiting for someone to call me back. And I was like, I need to find my son. And so they were like, they was like, we're certain this is your son. And I'm like, I'm like, okay. So he's like, were you just calling his phone? And I said, yeah. And he said, yeah, this is your son. We know this is your son because it keeps ringing and mom keeps coming up. And when I tell you that pain was unbelievable and I just fell out. But it's so crazy how I used to watch the news and I see our children dying and it would touch my heart so much. But to be a person that has to live through that and see your son on the news, I can't even express the feeling. I can't even explain it. And especially when you've done everything right, it's really a hard pill to swallow, really.
Yeah. The saddest thing about this is, like I said, he was a great young king. And I have one child. I can't even imagine being in your shoes. And this happened in November. I don't even think I still be able to have some type of life in me the way you have right now that you displaying, especially everything that you have going on. We'll get into that a little later, but I just want to ask y'all, what do y'all think about, like, is because everything that you mentioned, as far as the guy being on a run, he wasn't supposed to be in this state. Like, not only is the justice system failing us, but our people are angry with each other. Like, why are we so angry with each other? It's a lot of misplaced anger that they just quick to kill. I remember when I came up, it was put your fist up before you pull your gun up. You know what I'm saying? So now it's like, okay, they'll go get a gun first, shoot, don't even kill if they get a body, and then they do like 3 years in jail and come home, and you be wondering, like, why, because they look at it like, oh, I could do this. There's several cases out there where people didn't court bodies and they home in like less than 10 years. I'm not saying that, people don't change or whatever, but under God's law, you took somebody's life.
Right, life for life. Can I
You know what I'm saying? In some countries, they have that.
With what you said about what's going on, why are people so angry? I think it's a mixture of being angry and not knowing how to handle your anger. And I think it also comes from home. Everything stems from home. If you're not really raised, I don't want to use the word right, I guess that's too PC, but if you're a parent and you're not telling your children how they should act, what they should do, how they should handle their problems, then they may become a product of their environment, or they may be influenced by people around them that don't know how to act or don't know how to treat each other or don't know how to handle their own anger. So they see that, this person is using a gun. Maybe that's how I should solve my problems, instead of actually saying, okay, what is the problem? Why am I angry? Why can't I just go to this person and say, listen, you made me angry over this, that, and a third. Instead, they're just quick to go with their emotions and shoot to kill. So, is that something, you guys are parents, I'm not. Do you guys teach your kids about how they should handle certain situations?
Yes.
Without resorting to violence?
Well, it's, Nneka, it's a thin line. Okay. It really is, because you have bullies in school.
Right.
I know how this works. If you the punching bag and you never punch back, you're gonna continue to be that punching bag and get walked on. So at some point, naturally, it's innate. And I don't know if I'm saying that word right, but y'all know what I'm saying. But it's in us to actually fight back if you're being harmed. Yeah. Survival of the fittest. So it's a thin line when you actually, have your kids and you telling them, like, okay, you in school and such and such did what? They hit you for what? For no reason? Of course I have told my daughter, you have to say something to the people that's in charge first, because they, with our kids, they'll kick you out, they'll give you a record, all that. So I said, the approach is tell your superior first before you do something. You know what I'm saying? Because at least you made it known that this action happened to you, and your reaction wasn't to punch back. You know what I mean? Yeah. So but it's a thin line though, because in the heat of the moment, we don't know. Our kids are little people. You know what I'm saying? So whether they little ones or big ones, in the heat of the moment, you get sucker punched or hit in the back of your head. Your natural action might be to go chase that person down and beat them up. So that's kind of tricky.
I think,
you know what I mean?
It's a difference. To be honest, yeah. Like, I always tell my kids, someone hits you, yes, hit them back. Mm-hmm. But the difference is when you're raised in a house with morals, when you're raised in a house with love, when your parent is setting an example, yeah, we all get angry, you know what I'm saying? But you're not going to pull out a gun and take somebody's life because morally, that's wrong. Right. You know, so there is a difference with saying, okay, somebody hit you, hit them back, then, okay, I'm just going to shoot you. It's totally different morals. The two, you can't compare the two. You know what I'm saying? Like, I still remember, and this is how morally right my son was. I remember the story he told me. He in high school, and he said, you know, he's like these little 1 9th and 10th grader rumbling, everybody standing around. And he said, I think he said the 9th grader was bigger than a 10th grader. He was like, so, you know, Mom, we just all stand around. And he was like, you know, I didn't do nothing because, you know, they got to get the anger out. We understand that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But what my son did say, he said that what happened was the bigger guy knocked the littler guy out. He said, and then he went to commence and stomping on his head. My son stepped in and grabbed the guy, and the guy put his head back and headbutted him. He had a busted lip. He said, Mom, he said, I let them rumble and I watched it like everybody else. He said, but I was not going, he already knocked out. He was like, I was not going to let him stomp on his head. And he said, once I grabbed dude, then everybody else was trying to help out. And when I tell you, I looked at him and I said, I did something right. You know, so it's like, but my son wasn't no punk either. Right. You know what I'm saying? So it's okay to not be no punk, but it's when you're raised in a morally right household, no matter where you come from, because like I said, we from North Philly, you know what I'm saying, but I still raised my boys correctly.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean when I was asking, that's what I meant when I was asking, like, does it really begin at home?
It's the foundation.
Yeah. So the way that parents raise their kids, and then you have some parents that, I hate to say this, are too young to be parents, and they're not raising their children. So their children are being raised by, you know, the influences on the street, and they'll see these people that, like I said, are influences or quote unquote role models, and they see them with the guns and they see them with the flashy cars and the bling or whatever, and they want to emulate that person. So then what's the solution? You know, I mean, is the solution like what you're starting right now with the Women of Valor, having mentoring programs, you know, showing kids how to be adults, showing kids how to problem solve without getting into physical disputes? I don't know. That's something I just want to, throw out to you guys.
No, that's good.
Yeah, that is.
I'm gonna lean on what Max was saying as far as the household that child is raised up in, because everything counts. That how, you know, the parents is the first role models, point blank, whether they good role models or bad role models. You know, you got some parents that talk to their kids violently with nothing but negativity and profanity, and thinking that's going to help. Sometimes that they don't even hear that because they just looking at your negative mannerisms. So that energy is like just going to come right back in them, and they're going to transfer somewhere else. So just on the speech side of things can be a problem sometimes. And then the stuff that they watching you doing. If that child seeing Jerome, his father, bringing guns in the house back and forth, illegal guns, and you know what I'm saying, and doing like ill things, he can create that culture. Now you grooming like a little criminal. You know what I'm saying? And I can actually relate to that. You know what I'm saying? Because I love my pop. You know, and I'm saying some personal shit, but like he had guns in the crib, but the foundation that I had, the moral foundation I had that him and my mom put in me, I knew not to touch them. You know what I'm saying? Don't matter what he was doing. He used to tell me, yo, you see this? This ain't good. You know what I'm saying? I didn't name my business why he had it, but he would tell me like, yo, no, don't touch this. Don't never, you know what I mean? He would talk to me like a man, and I'd be like 5 years old. But that instilled in me like, this is my foundation. I knew what was good and what was wrong. I'm gonna actually throw some stats real quick. Some stuff that I came across, which I thought was crazy. I'm gonna actually show y'all this too. And this is based on 2015, and it was just comparing it to USA and the UK, and basically it said 270 million legal held civilian firearms versus 4 million legally
in the UK.
In the UK,
wow.
firearms per person was like 88.
Wait a minute, what?
Yeah, 100. Yo, it's crazy. Almost 100 firearms per person. It's crazy. Number of school shootings was 59, and UK was 0. People killed in gun incidents in USA in 2014 was 12,570, and in the UK it was 30.
What?
Yeah. When you look at these kind of numbers, I'm gonna pass that around. Then I also came across this. It said of all the murders in the United States in 2012, 60% were by firearm, compared with only 31% in Canada, 18% in Australia, and just 10% in the UK. That's 2012. Then it says so many people die annually from gunfire in the United States that the death toll between 1968 and 2011 eclipses all wars ever fought.
I saw that, yeah. I did see
Now,
that report.
that right there is like, I mean, that was only that was to 2011. So imagine, 1968 to now. You know what I mean? The numbers is crazy, and that ain't even touching on the African American community. Because I came across something on the CDC. I'm gonna just say this, and then I want your opinions on this stuff. It says CDC data show that within the nation's cities, African Americans are on average 8 times more than likely to be killed by firearms than those who are white, Caucasians. So, yeah. And people say it's got the conspiracies out there, but here's the thing. Because yes, I am all about the conspiracies, but I do enough research to know there is some truth behind these conspiracies. But on the other hand, just because some guns are thrown to you, because they do want us to kill each other, you don't got to use them. Right. I don't give, you know what I'm saying? I don't give a fuck. Like, cut it. You know what I'm saying? It's evil. You being evil. You know what I'm saying? We already know drugs was placed here. It was a form of to wipe us out. We can go on for days to talk about that kind of stuff. But we as our people, we got to do better. We want to always point the finger at the white man this, the white man that. No. Listen, we came far enough to actually do well on our own and to better ourselves. But we don't want to. You know what I'm saying? And Maxayn, we had several talks about that. You go ahead.
Yeah, because I swear, I be like, it's self-hatred we have amongst each other, number one. And number two, there are programs out here that are out here to help children. But do parents take advantage of them? No. And I'm going to say for my Women of Valor, it's like I almost had to basically beg parents to put their children in it. Why would you not want to put your child in something that's going to teach them to love themselves and teach them, good morals and good values? If you know what I mean, we as parents, we are busy. We got to work. We got to be parents. But here I have a program that you can put your daughter into, that will give her an outlet to talk. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes you don't give them an option. You say this is where you're going, and that's just that. And so it's like there are programs out here. Another thing is, we'll get into it later, but I have a scholarships foundation that I started for my son, and it's like I'm back. Like, listen, I have this scholarship, and this scholarship is it's a football thing, and it helps inner city kids to get paid registration fees or get equipment. I gotta practically break my neck or make people want this money. Like, I'm not understanding. Like, why is that?
Well, let me ask you, like, what do you think the resistance is? What is your gut feeling?
You know what I think? You know what I think? I think that people aren't used to sometimes these services being available. And because it brings me back to when I first started Women of Valor, and I went up to this little girl. She was she was on her porch, and I had a flyer, and I went up to her, and I was just like, hey, I'm starting this program for young women between the ages of 12 and 18. Tell your mom about it. Her facial expression was like of confusion. You know what I mean? And
you probably didn't know what mentor means.
Yeah, so so it's just like I just feel like sometimes people, they're so used to things being a certain way that they don't
think outside the box. Is
correct.
Foreign
Yeah.
Okay.
It's crazy. You said for your Women of Valor mentoring program, that's like pulling teeth with the parents. But on the other hand, they can go send their daughters to go learn how to shake their ass and some dancing classes, some shit like that. And I ain't talking about the ballet. They got the hip hop classes. You know what I'm saying? They twerking and all that bullshit. That's what I just was saying. All them social ills within our community, it has to change. You gotta. It's like you said. You providing a lane for nothing but positivity, providing a foundation that'll help with that parent. And you gotta drag them to the program. That's crazy, and that's something positive. Like, I'm gonna always continue to go back on what I said. People love negativity. Yeah. They just love negativity, and because they built these personal cultures of that they don't want to get out. What you just were saying, they don't want to get out of their own that negative bullshit.
Okay, so what I was just going to follow up. Do you guys think, and this is a disclaimer, I'm not trying to bash any kind of reality television, so please don't try to sue me. No. Yeah, but what I was going to say is, like, do you think that, with shows like Real Housewives and, Hip Hop Wives, a lot of these females are being influenced to think and behave on the level of these people who are claiming to be real people that are actually scripted characters? Okay, and they're seeing this as glamorous because they're seeing that these people are very shiny and shimmery and have the bling, whereas, like you said, Maxayn, if you come up to them with a positive, outlook, and you're trying to offer them something that will lift them up, they weigh the Real Housewives against the Women of Valor, and they say which one is more commercially acceptable. That's good. How do you guys feel about that? Like, do you see that having something to do with it?
That was good. That was really good, because if I was, and I'm just gonna say no thing against Cardi B or nothing like that, but if I was Cardi B and I came up with a flyer, hey, Women of Valor, they'd have been all in.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like I'm outside the norm. Here I am, just someone, my light already shining, I'm just normal. They're like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Which is crazy.
What's crazy that you mentioned her? Like, if you was able to get the opportunity to come into her circle and she found out about your program, she would support it.
Exactly.
Because, at first, I'm like, man, who is this? I didn't really accept it too much because I'm a music head, y'all know that. And I'm like, I don't feel her music. But I started like looking at some of the stuff she would stand up for. And I was like, oh, okay, she ratchet and hood. But I got more deeper than looking at her. I'm starting to think she put on that as an act to sell herself. But really behind that, when the camera's off, she intelligent, because you gotta have some type of intelligence to run business. She got businesses and stuff like that. She in these meetings with these record labels, getting her money. So she ain't dumb what she appears to be. And just by the stuff that she be saying on her little social media, she throw the little stuff in there. But for the most part, it's ratchet. But that's what our culture love now. That's the selling thing right now. Like, I'm one of the realest people y'all probably gonna meet, right? And I can honestly say the numbers is doing well with the podcast and the listeners. But I guarantee you, I'm glad y'all on this episode. But I guarantee y'all, this John probably won't do that well, because we talking some real talk right now. You feel me? And I'm just throwing it out there, like, when we had some real topics on this joint, like, not knocking all the other episodes, but yeah, I'm in my bag right now. But it just really irks me when I look at these numbers behind the scene, and I'm like, yo, we provide all types of stuff, but when we had these more serious episodes, I think they should be heard, because we common folk talking, having our opinions, and we saying some very, very knowledgeable things that I think everybody can learn something from. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I'm heated, a little heated.
I and what you said about Cardi B is correct. But what my thing is here, the inner city youth don't see that side. They're not going to do that research. They need to see that side. They don't. It's okay. Like, I love, like, Cardi B is real. Like, yes. But when you get to the inner city youth, they're not going deep into that side. They're looking at the quote unquote ratchet side. Yeah. And that's the side they're going to follow. Now, that I have a problem with. Yeah. But, you know, and so again, like, they got to see the other side.
Well, let me go ahead and ask the question again. What is it that attracts people to that? Is it just the sensationalism? Mm-hmm. Is it just the polish that these people seem to have? Is it the numbers that they draw in? What is it that makes us more attracted to negativity and ratchetness than something that's positive?
I think it's the norm. Yeah. It's what's popping, as the kids say. Yeah. This is what's popping.
Yeah, that gets you the attention.
Yes. Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like I was saying, like, yeah, my answer to your question is people are addicted to attention. You know, like, I got a quote Fabulous. He said, "Attention is the root of evil now, not money." And when I heard that lyric stuck out, and I'm like, damn, that's so on point. He's right. You look at social media, yo, you know,
selfies.
Like, yeah, like, but it's just people get addicted to it. You know what I'm saying? You know, so you gotta fast from that stuff. You gotta put the phone on airplane mode sometimes. I know I definitely do. I gotta put it on air because I'm a product of that. I easily get addicted to it. I start scrolling on one joint. Nah, I'm keeping it real.
2 hours
yo, look.
Like, yo, what is doing?
Yeah, I'm keeping it real. Like, I can listen. I'm not flawless. Like, I get on that joint, I start promoting, but then I get stuck. Like, whoa, what the? This is stupid. This is hilarious. Yeah. You know. But then it's like, all right, let me get back on my shit. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So. Yeah, it's so many distractions nowadays. You know, that's the key word for everything that you was talking about. It's these distractions. You know, you just gotta fast from it, yo, for real. But there's a couple of questions I wanted to ask you, Max. Max. First, your question, and then as a whole, I want to get your opinion about something. But I want to ask you, Max, for everything that you got going on with the Women of Valor and the Memorial Foundation, Jahworld, hashtag that. Y'all search that on Instagrams, all the social media. But where do you find the strength and the energy to push forward, to go with, you know, everything that you're doing?
Ooh, that's a good one. I'm going to tell you, I swear, I always say spirituality is the key and God for me is the key. When I tell you it's only by his strength, man, that has kept me going. That's the only thing I can say. Like, I know that that there is a bigger picture. I know that, and as I said before, I always say there is always purpose for your pain. And so, you know, what I decided to do was take the pain and the anger that I had about what happened towards my son and put it into something positive and turn it into a positive light. Like I tell people all the time, we don't have control over what happened. I'm mad. I wish I could change it. I can't do nothing about it. It has happened, but we have control over what we do going forward. And so I just, you know, I pray all the time. And I'm just like, all right, God, what, you know, what do you want me to do? Like, what can I do with this pain? And it's nothing but God's strength, man. And also just knowing how many children have been taken away in the inner city. It's like I realized that God knows your life from the end to the beginning. He knows what you're going to go through. And so during your life, he's equipped you to be able to handle certain things. So I realized at this moment in my life that things that I've been through has equipped me for this moment. So Women of Valor came from pain. I went through a lot in my life, and that's built me to be what I am today with the death of my son. And so I'm equipped for this. I realize the strength also comes from me just knowing I have to be a voice for the voiceless. I have to be the strength for the strengthless, for people that lost children years ago and are still mourning. They can't speak. They can't say their son's name. I say my son's name every day, Jason Amai Patton, and I'm going to continue to say his name and continue to tell his story because that gives me strength and that keeps him alive. And again, I can't change what happened, but I can change what's going to happen going forward. That's what I have control over. Yes, I'm still hurting. Yes, I am angry. Yes, I want to tear realness. I'm from North Philly. I want to tear some stuff up. Especially in the beginning, I wanted to go for some blood. I did. But the thing that helped me was my faith in God. And God's like, vengeance is mine. And I look back over my life and know that everything that has come against me, God handled it. So I know that full justice is going to be served. And I keep praying on that and be like, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Yeah.
Can I ask you, you mentioned you wanted to be a voice for a lot of the other parents who have lost children. Have you joined any kind of groups of mothers who have lost children to gun violence?
You're good. I haven't per se joined any groups. I will say this. God uses you. Do you know me just showing my strength, how so many people are watching? How so many people have inboxed me on my Facebook, inboxed me on my Instagram and say, your strength is amazing. There were so many things that have happened between dreams after my son has passed. I shared a lot of that stuff, which showed people that there is a heaven, and so many people commented, was like, I needed that because they've lost someone and just thought life ended there, which it doesn't. So whatever I go through, I share it because that's giving other people strength. I have a young lady in my church who her son was murdered last year, and now we talk. I have met so many women that have lost children, but because of my strength, I'm their strength. So we talk. You know what I mean? I haven't joined any groups per se, because I'm gonna tell you some groups are bitter women. Some groups are women that cannot get past it. So they're bitter and they're angry. So I don't get involved in any groups. I just say, God, whoever you want me to touch, he's going to send them to me. And that's who I'm going to touch. I have, though, I was on channel Boys Latin, which is my son's high school. They had an anti-gun violence rally about 2 weeks ago with Senator Williams. And I did speak, and we were on channel 10. I did speak about gun violence. Actually, this Saturday, I am going to go on a bus trip from Philadelphia. It's an anti-gun violence thing with women that have lost children. And we're actually taking the bus over to Washington. So I will be going this Saturday. So I have, done different things. Like I said, I haven't joined any groups because I just know that who God wants you to touch, he's going to bring them to you. You don't have to go searching. Yeah.
Well, you answered my question. Yeah, that's yeah. I want to ask y'all, what was your opinions on this past week? You had the national school walkout where the students stood up against, the gun violence in America. Mm-hmm. They rallied together. I didn't know nothing about it. It happened Wednesday, this past Wednesday, at 10 a.m. Was it March 14th? Mm-hmm. I was at work. Y'all know y'all know where I work. I ain't mentioning that. But Broad Street, all this noise. I was like, oh damn, what's going on? It's like, oh, the kids is rallying. Then I went right on my phone and I seen the news gave me the thing, the notification. I said, wow, this is, you gotta think about this, right? Them kids, this generation, which your son was actually included in this generation, they fighters. Mm-hmm. Oh, if y'all remember a few years back, that down in Baltimore, that was all kids out there when that situation. I'm not saying that was good, right? Fucking up your whole city, your town, taking away people work in them Rite Aids and CVS's and all that. So you messing up people's money with that. But this generation, as far as the youth, they're fighters, and I'm talking about not what makes them different from us, from our generation, is the white people, the white kids and the black kids. They blend together.
Yeah.
They more acceptable with each other versus how we came up. And I noticed that just doing the podcast and meeting certain individuals that's young, you know, one of them, FYH, and just being around them and watching how they operate. They operate, you know, they network together. It's no separatism, you know, and that means something. Because all in all, we are humans. Yeah. You know, generate the human, you know, human race is number one is a human. God bless you, whatever, to be whatever color or race you are, that it is what it is. But they fighters. I just want to know what's your opinion on that.
Okay.
I thought it was a good thing. I thought it was, you know, like you said, from our generation, I don't remember our generation ever doing anything like that, you know, and I am the same age as the Columbine killers. I was a senior in high school when all that went down, and I don't remember anything, you know, the response.
You was a senior in high school that went down?
In 99, yeah.
Damn, I was a loser.
Shut up, Jamil. Anyway.
But go ahead.
But,
I don't know what I was doing.
Yeah, you sit there. Just threw me back.
I was a senior in high school. I remember the only thing that my high school did at that time was we wore black ribbons as a way of memorializing the kids that were killed. But I have to say that I don't know the young lady's name who made a speech down in Florida. She had a buzz cut. Anyway, she was talking about the NRA financing the campaigns of a lot of the politicians and how she felt so offended that these politicians were accepting money from the NRA and not really doing anything about violence with teens. And I thought that was just so profound. Like, this young girl who's 17 or 18 years old is speaking in front of all of this media, you know, and talking about how this has affected her. And she's speaking directly to these politicians. That takes a lot of balls. You know, I don't remember being that ballsy. I don't remember being that ballsy right now, you know, so I thought it was good. But another point that I wanted to bring up, I don't know if you all saw when this happened, this national school walkout on, you're smiling, I don't know if you know what I'm about to say, on Wednesday. There was one particular school, I forgot where the school was, where only one student walked out. This African-American student.
Was it inner city school?
No, I think it was one of the suburb schools, but he was the only student that walked out. He put it on Twitter saying that, you know, my teacher allowed me to walk out, but nobody else in my school wanted to join me. And I thought that was so profound, you know, that just that one person made a difference, put himself on social media and said, you know what, I'm standing with all the other kids in the U.S. who are walking out about violence. And so, I mean, I think it's great. The only other thing that I have to criticize, not the kids, but the response of a lot of the politicians, a lot of the Republican GOP politicians were really critical of these kids, stating that these kids were, you know, just puppets for the Democratic politicians, which I thought was such an insult to the kids, you know, because these kids are kids who actually have lost comrades, they've lost peers, and to belittle their effort, it just, in my mind, it's just very insulting. You know, we've all been guaranteed the right to protest, but you're just going to sweep what they're doing under the rug and saying that they're doing it for political purposes. I thought that was just very shallow, you know.
Yeah, I seen something where a young guy was when the shootings happened in Florida, and the 18 people that got killed, the young guy stood up to the governor. You seen that?
No.
Young kid, young Caucasian kid. He was going back and forth with the governor like, yo, you accepted money from the NRA for your campaigns. Yeah. Please tell me you're going to stop accepting their money and lobby for us for stricter gun, because you know Florida is this is an open carry state. It's just loose. You know, some of the biggest, you know, situations happen down in Florida. Y'all know Trayvon and all the other stuff. It's open carry state, and they laws are so loose. So they trying to say because of, you know, them kids that got killed in that high school, they like, yo, the government, you got to do something.
Do you remember what the governor's response was?
The young guy court had him. His response was like, yeah, well, you know, I had meetings with them and I talked to them, and he never said he was going to stop taking their money. He said, I talked to them, and what you guys got to know is I'm for you. I'm for you. I'm for you, the people. I'm like, yo, these politicians, yo, they so trained. They well trained.
Yes. And they use clever speech to make it seem like, you know, they are on the side of the victim.
Nah, they trained.
Right.
No, what we need to do is go like back in the day and just overthrow government. We vote them in. We need to just really get hood and just overthrow and start over. Like seriously.
People don't realize that if we don't vote, what happens? We conditioned to think we need to vote. If you ain't happy with how they, you know, running this company, we ain't gotta vote.
That's right.
They said we got the right to vote, right? We got the right to not to vote too. So if you don't vote, what happens? Don't they need our vote?
Right.
We gotta, you know, at some point we gotta change this. You know what I'm saying? We gotta force change.
Right.
We can't just be like you said, the generational curses and just going through the motions, because that's what we was told to do. Go vote on voting day. Don't even care who you voting for. Don't even know them. Know nothing about them. And they just hitting the switch. Oh, that's a Democrat. That don't mean because you Democrat and he Democrat. That don't mean that person right. You know, it's just crazy out here.
I have to say, I know that we're getting off the topic here with the whole Democrat Republican thing, but when it comes to a lot of these parties, do you find that maybe people within your own social circle are just voting straight on party, not because they know this person, or like you said, they've researched this person's background? Why do we do that? Let me ask that to you guys.
Because of the
And
condition.
I know that that's a off the topic subject, but I want to ask you guys.
Listen, yo, I'm gonna tell you. And you know, Nneka, I told you, I didn't research a lot of this politics stuff, the way that this country was formed and all that. I'm cool. I don't even vote no more. You know, y'all can cuss me out, whatever. I don't care. I'm not voting no more because I'm from the hood, live in the hood. Lived in the hood all my life. And if you open your eyes and peep this shit, it's just a different name and a different race with a different tie and color suit on. They say the same shit since they've been saying in the 90s. Ain't nothing changed about my hood. The hood actually got worse. Philly got worse. Ain't nothing but corrupt politicians here. You know what I'm saying? Soda tax for the schools. What did that even make the schools 1% better? No. Now they enter in the marijuana business. You know, if you got a peep. I'm born and raised here. ShopRite, you can go get beer and wine now. To get real deep with it, Pennsylvania's a Quaker state. You know, the Protestants, the Quakers was there. You know, they Protestants. If y'all do the research on that, y'all just use the Google machine, look up the Protestants and all that. But they had strict religious law, and Pennsylvania was one of them last states, the Commonwealth. That's why, you know, we got clubs that close at 2, and the wine and spirits don't even open on Sunday, but now they do.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
You feel me? Wine and spirits is open on Sunday now in Pennsylvania.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And you gotta peep the shift that's going on.
Yes.
How is Pennsylvania supposed to be like ruled by God's law, but all of a sudden now all the corruption that happened in the state and the city, Philadelphia, now y'all about to get into the medical marijuana. They cut if you found with a bag of weed, now you don't go to jail, you just get a fine. My homie back in the 90s, shout out Los if he listening, you know what I'm saying? But look, that was his whole thing. He looked up the red man and all that silly stuff, smoking the weed, whatever, right? He got caught with a bag. He got locked up. I ain't do no time like that, but it wasn't no fine. He had to go to classes and stuff like that. It was. They tried to make it serious, kinda. You know what I mean? He got it wiped off his record because it wasn't that serious. But now, shit, you smoke a stick of weed now, and then the cops just give you a fine, like a ticket. Yo, you gotta peep all this stuff, yo.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
Say well, we gotta realize we in a time now where what was immoral is now moral. What was moral is now immoral. You know what I'm saying? We're living in a time where things that we know is wrong are right. And it is what it is. I feel like it takes us as parents and just people that want to really have real change to reach out to kids and whoever to help make that change. It's not going to be done by no politicians. It's not going to be done by our political system, period. It's up to us. So my prayer every day is, God, use me. Whatever it is, use me, because that's the only way we're going to make change. I may only be able to reach one person, but then that one person will reach somebody else. So we each individually have to take on that responsibility of reaching out, because we know that a lot of parents nowadays, let's be real, are too busy. I ain't going to say competing, but they on Instagram and Facebook along with their daughters taking these pictures. You know what I'm saying? Or hanging out in the streets partying too. And no, that's not how it goes. So, we know this is what's happening. So we have to take the responsibility to just kind of try to do what we can do. You know what I mean? And make an impact that way. Trust and believe you're going to reach some kids. You're going to have an impact somewhere. I know through this journey, through my Jahworld and through the journey through my Women of Valor, I know certain kids I reached an impact on. You know what I'm saying? Like, it could be the littlest thing. Like, example, with my son's death, and matter of fact, my play daughter, we were talking today, and she went to church with me today. And we were talking last night, and she basically was like, she never even knew or thought about, like, the, how can I say, that we don't die. Our spirit still lives on and in a heaven. She said, I didn't know that until I started spending time with you and talking to you. Wow. You get what I'm saying? Okay. Like that littlest thing. Yeah. But it's like, that's me being used again. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like we have to individually, whatever our gifts are, we have to individually use them, and we're going to make an impact. So
let me just get back, because I know I took us all the way off the topic, but your question was, what did we feel about the students going out on March 14th? I know I answered it. I don't think you did. What was your, did you know about it?
I did.
Okay. And what was your feeling?
I'm going to be honest. Like, I knew about it. I watched some of it, but to be honest, I got so much going on. So in this state, I kind of, I take a peek, and then I would just say that I love that our kids are fighters. I love that our kids are taking a stand for those type of things. I can go back to, again, my son's school, Boys Latin, when we did the gun violence, and all of the boys that stood outside on the step with names of people that they've lost, or with a slogan, and they're that's all boys school. But to see that power, I was just like, wow. Do you understand? So it's like that, and I'm going to go into my spiritual bag right now, but that's why the enemy has flooded. He's after our children because he knows their power. They have great power, but if the enemy continues to, our children are flooded with this nonsense music. They're flooded with this nonsense reality shows. It's going to keep them off the task. It's going to downplay the power that they really have. They have power. They have a lot more power. But again, that's why the enemy has flooded all of these things into our children. Yeah,
you're exactly right. But yeah, I'm about to start to wrap things up. But Max, you gotta let them know where what you got going on with the Jahworld Foundation. You have a job day coming up. Let the people know about that.
So, So again, I'm just going to go back. I took my pain and made it into purpose. So what I did was I started a football memorial scholarship. And what it is every football season, I give away between $100 to $500 to an inner city youth for registration fees or football equipment, whatever they may need. And you just go on there. You can go on the website to donate. You can go on the website to nominate a kid. And it's given back. They have to have a certain criteria. All of that is on the site. They have to have the same criteria that my son had in order to be eligible for the scholarship. And I just gotta put this out there because when I tell you I've been working hard, Malcolm Jenkins has also donated to my scholarship fund, and I was super excited.
Jenkins from the Eagles.
Yes, from the Eagles. Woo!
Super Bowl. Yeah.
Super Bowl, yes. Yeah. Shout out to Malcolm. But yeah, I had actually invited him to speak, but he was unable to. When in a few days later, I had saw that he donated, and I was super excited because it's like, all right, God, you working this out. So that website is Jahworld, JAHWORLD 18.org. Again, Jahworld, one word. 18.org. I am doing a Jah Day on April 14th, which will be celebrating what would have been his 19th birthday. He would have been turning 19 on April 12th. So I'm going to do a celebration and celebrate him on the 14th. So on that day, Boys Latin is, they're holding a touch football game, at 1:00 at Boys Latin. And that night, we are doing,
Where's Boys Latin?
Boys Latin is at 55th and Cedar Avenue. That night I am doing a fundraiser celebration, thing at, Thunderbird Lanes on Castor Avenue. The tickets are $25, and we're going to just have a ball in celebration of Jah's son. And that money is also going to go to the Jahworld Memorial Scholarship. We'll have a DJ. I rented out the whole bowling alley. We're going to have a DJ, food. That $25 includes the bowling for 3 hours and your shoes. And again, the food, the DJ. I'm also going to have a video and photo person. And like they say, we're going to get lit for Jah's son. If you want to purchase tickets, you can go on Eventbrite. It's under Jah Day. Or you can Cash App Jahworld 18 and get your tickets, or you can contact me. My number is 267-237-6314, and I can get you a ticket or just donate. Yep.
So before we wrap this thing up, Nneka, I'm gonna need you to, say your social media.
Oh, sure.
You know what I'm saying? And then Maxayn, you gonna say your social media.
Okay. All right. So I'm Nneka Onianwah. Again, I'm at Instagram. It's MS_N as in Nancy, a second N as in Nancy, EKA _ONIANWAH. And I'm also Ms. Nneka. Yeah, I know. MS_NNEKAONIANWA. That's my Twitter. So I'm usually just on Twitter and Instagram. I just got back on Facebook, but to be honest,
Facebook sucks.
yeah, I can't even remember what my Facebook name is. So it's better to reach me on Instagram and Twitter.
So I forgot my social media. I don't have a Jah Day, official Jahworld social media. However, you can still look up information about Jahworld and stuff on my Women of Valor. So that's Women of Valor 74. That's my Instagram and that's my Facebook. Also, you can hashtag Jahworld, and everything about Jahworlds will come up. So definitely hashtag Jahworlds, and you'll see everything about Jahworlds.
Yep, that's it, yo. I want to thank you, lovely ladies, for being a guest on the Hood Geniuses podcast. I'm speaking extra slow right now because I'm nice, but listen, my feet warm. Those who in my circle know when my feet warm and feeling good, they know what that means. You know what I'm saying? No freaky deaky, nothing, stuff like that, but they know. People in the circle know what that means. But once again, y'all, like I said, providing this platform, I'm out here. Shout out Lady T, but this is good, yo. You know what I'm saying? This was a good episode. I like the energy. I like everything that we was discussing. So hopefully everybody will listen and comment, get the great feedback, and y'all know how I like to end this. Dream hard and don't sleep forever. Thank you. Peace.
You are now an official Hood Genius. Thanks for listening. Make sure you subscribe and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Y'all know what to do.
Hit that follow button.